Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon Silver with only version-exclusive Pokemon was a fun team run. Let's follow that up with a probably very hard one. Today's the day that we figure out, would I be able to beat Pokemon Red with Koga's team and moves? Alright, well, you know the drill from all of the other team and moves runs. This is Koga's team in Pokemon Red. As you can tell, it's really not great. Sludge is probably the best move I'm seeing here, unless you count stuff like Smokescreen or Self-Destruct. And sure, those could be useful, but the problem is, literally his whole team has to be caught in the Pokemon Mansion, so we're only gonna have one Pokemon until after the Koga fight. So we get to have some fun with stuff like Smokescreen and Self-Destruct, but not until later in the run. The first half is probably gonna be very hard. Like always, I'm writing this script as I go through with the challenge, so all this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. I mean, I figure I can win, but I'm for sure gonna need to be a really high level to do it. This team and these moves are pretty bad. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use Koga's team and moves. I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs, but I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. So, right off the bat, I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Bulbasaur with Grimer so that we can do the whole run with it. I figure I've already done a Coughing-only run before, and we're gonna have only one Pokemon until the Pokemon Mansion no matter what, so we may as well try something new and use Grimer. So, while I'm grinding in the forest, it's time to go over some of the weird things about Grimer. This is pretty much just a solo Grimer and Muck run for the first half anyway. So, because you can't catch this thing in the wild until the Pokemon Mansion, it can't learn any new moves until level 30. Yes, that means that we won't be learning anything new for a really long time. Since we're trying to get all of Koga's moves, that means we can't just use TMs for better moves. Once this Grimer is level 37 and knows Sludge, it'll be the last move he ever learns. Not only that, but both Grimer and Muck are weaker in this game than they are in others. Normally, Muck and Grimer have much higher special defense than they do special attack, but due to Gen 1 having combined special stats, and them using the lower number in this case, we essentially have less special defense than they would in the other Pokemon games. That's just going to make things harder in the long run for sure. Really, the only thing we have going for us is that Grimer and Muck get decent attack, and Poison uses our attack stat in this game, so eventually we should be hitting reasonably hard with Sludge. I'm probably still going to have to be something like level 25 to beat the Rock Gym. Maybe Disable could help, but it picks random moves in this game, so probably not. I'll grind a ton early on, let's hope for the best. So the first try was at level 16 and it really didn't go well. We're taking 5 damage per tackle and he defense curled enough that we were only hitting for 1 damage pretty early on. We could get him to kind of low health, but never low enough to get close to fainting, and he's got an Onix after this, so we really didn't stand a chance. It doesn't help that crits are based off of base speed in Gen 1, and our base speed is awful, so crits are going to be extra rare. Let's grind to level 20 and keep trying. So I tried a couple more times at level 20, and although it's still pretty hard, and just luck-based, we did get a very narrow victory. Part of me wishes that we'd already have a poison move, but then again, Gen 1 Brock has a weirdly huge amount of full heals. I think he has 5 or 6 per Pokemon, it's really strange. So we would probably never get poison to stick, even if we had a move like, I don't know, Smog or Sludge or something like that. I'm just happy that I didn't have to grind past level 20, because I was really feeling like it had to be more like 25, and it was, whew, it's a slow grind. With that win, we're finally moving on, but that doesn't mean that things are easy. I'm still fighting every trainer I can until I know new moves, because we're really weak. Our stats might be better than most of what we're fighting due to our higher level, but we're stuck with Pound until level 37 when we replace it with Sludge. Basically, we replace it right before we evolve. I'm just hoping that I can be strong enough to take out the Water Gym the moment we get there to help save us some time. Wish me luck. On our way through, though, I took the Helix Fossil. I knew that if I didn't say what I took, you'd all ask. Actually, now that I think about it, everyone ask anyway. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. So, the first try at the Water Gym goes kind of okay, but I can tell that I'd only really win if I got very lucky. She uses an X-Defend early on, so I do a lot less damage, and although their tackles hardly hurt us, their Bubble Beams and Water Guns do a lot more. Plus, Starmie is a crit machine, so we'd have to get really lucky to win at this level. Maybe if I do the rival fight and Nugget Bridge first, then I could level up more. Well, you know what? I kind of thought the rival fight might be pretty hard, but Pidgeotto didn't use Sand Attack a single time. Thanks to that, we pretty easily beat his whole team. Grimer's a little bit tanky for this early in the game. It's paying off. That means we're moving. There's a lot of trainers between us and the water gym, so I'm gonna get some more last-minute levels. I think we could win by level 30, and that's kind of what I'm aiming for. I'm confident that I could at least beat it before going to the SS Anne, but there's only one way to find out. You know, unless we just get crit by Starmie a bunch, and that's not impossible. Now this took 2 tries because Bubble Beam still hurts a lot, but on this try, Starmie just used Tackle 3 times? If it was using a single water move, then I think we'd have lost. It's almost like the game wants us to go get the rest of our team. That means we're on the SSN, and I don't think I'm gonna bother cleaning out the whole place. I'm sure I'll do some of it, but if the previous rival fight was so easy, then this one probably won't be that bad either. Then again, he does have Kadabra now, so I guess it could cause problems. Nah, I figure it'll be fine. First is Pidgeotto, who hardly hurt us, although he crit twice, so he did a lot more than he should have. Raticate hardly did anything with Hyper Fang, but he got us to half health as Kadabra came out. Right away, he wasted his first turn with Teleport, and we just one-shot him. That was lucky. Last is Charmeleon, who went down to a couple of pounds, and hey, we actually landed a crit that time. With our crazy low base speed, that's rare. We got crit twice by Pidgeotto, Kadabra used Teleport, and we crit with a super low speed Grimer. Weird fight. The Electric Gym right after was a very, well, it was a very Surge fight at first, with them seemingly always picking their worst possible moves, but Raichu actually did put up a bit of a fight near the end. Now, if he used Thunderbolt the whole time, then I would have lost, but he used Growl a lot instead. It did slow down us beating him by quite a bit and made the fight closer, but he really could have just used Thunderbolt more and beaten us. We're back on the road. We're getting really close to replacing Pound with Sludge, and more importantly, we're getting pretty close to evolving Muck. We're gonna need that, because I've got some annoying rock types to Brute Force and Rock Tunnel. Although, I guess I could minimize and they'll probably just blow themselves up. After that, we've got the Grass Gym, where we resist them, but we also have to contend with their effect moves, so I don't think it'll be too bad, but I'm not totally sure on that. Really, I'm more worried about the Poison Gym. Partly because the gym itself is full of Psychic trainers, and they might be more annoying than Koga, I don't know. But also that I'm fighting Koga's whole team with Sludge, a move that he resists. He's gonna have a lot of chances to use stuff like Smokescreen to ruin us. Let's hope that we're just really strong when we get there, because that sounds like it's gonna be a nightmare. So the Grass Gym was pretty easy. They didn't actually go for any scary Affliction moves, so we just hardly ended up taking any damage. I was worried about Rap Spam, but we were actually faster than them, so it wasn't a serious issue. Giovanni right after was no real issue, although we weren't hitting very hard. All of the rock ground types are mildly annoying, but they don't tend to actually have ground moves in this game, so they don't do much damage back to us. It's just really slow making them faint. And the Pokemon Tower rival fight right after was a super easy, no damage sweep. This rival fight is pretty much always easy though, it's just how it is, nothing to worry about. That means we're traveling to the Poison Gym. Now I'm really hoping that I'll be able to win it quickly, because the moment we win, then we can go get 3 Coughings, but I'm skeptical. I could see Smokescreen spam being a serious problem, and I figure I'll probably have to spam Minimize myself to stay competitive. It's not exactly a fun strategy, and just one Smokescreen getting through and hitting us will drop our chances of hitting Sludge by a third, because this is Gen 1 and it works a little different, but it's all we can do. I'm gonna use some PowerPoint ups on Sludge to make sure we have enough uses of it, and then I'll start making attempts. Okay, so this Poison Gym fight was amazing. It both went exactly as badly as I thought it would, and yet Koga threw us a bone anyway. So right away we were getting ruined by Smokescreens. I didn't bother using Minimize at all because I wanted to see if I could win with Sludge Spam first, and it's kind of working, but when his Muck came out and started using Minimize, we were missing like crazy. Still, we would hit every once in a while and it would do decent damage. As we finally made it to his Weezing, we only had 8 uses of Sludge left, and the first one missed. We probably would have run out of power points and lost the fight, but Koga decided to use Self-Destruct, hardly hurting us, and handing us the win and the TM for Toxic that we're gonna need for our own Weezing. Thanks, Koga. You're a bro. You know what that means? We finally get the rest of our team. Right away, I surf to Cinnabar and catch myself 2 Coughings, and I catch a Weezing, because Wild Weezings are here. Each one has to level up a little bit to learn their moves, but they don't really need to level up very much. I give the TM for Toxic to Wheezing right away so that it matches Koga's team, but to be honest, I think I'm gonna have the most fun with Wheezing just blowing up. I should probably buy a ton of revives. I'm expecting to blow them up for fun pretty often. Let's see if we can beat the Fire Gym early. It's tradition. Alright, so the first Growlithe just uses agility instead of fighting, and Blaine decided it was worth using super potions on it anyway, so that gives you an idea of what we're dealing with. I was thinking that maybe I'd use other members of the team for fun, but I forgot to set the battle style to shift, and I usually have it set on set so that I'm not constantly getting bugged on if I want to switch to HM Pokemons. So, I beat the entire gym only with Muck like it was nothing at all. Again, I know I've said it before, but Blaine really needs to have his badge revoked. This is ridiculous. That means I'm on to Silphco. You know, normally I'm a little bit worried about the rival fight, and I still kind of am because he's got that insane Alakazam that's for sure going to be faster than us. But at the same time, I have 2 Pokemon that could take him out, and he picks random moves, so our chance of winning in less than maybe 10 tries is pretty good. So it's totally worth it. I think I'll just fight a few trainers in here to gain a little bit of experience, and then I'll try. Wish me luck. Alright, well that's not what I was expecting at all. I mean, I figured Muck would beat quite a few of the early Pokemon, but what really surprised me was when Alakazam hit Psybeam, it did way less damage than I was expecting. Especially considering Muck has less special defense in Gen 1 than it has in the other games due to the combined stats favoring the special attack that he has in the later games. Last was Charizard, who I just blew up because it was funny. I'm sure it wasn't necessary. Giovanni right after went about how you would expect. It's a lot of sludge spam with Muck. It's super slow though, and it kinda has me worried about the ground gym. I mean, yeah, there's one Pokemon on his team with a ground move, but it's Dugtrio with his crazy Gen 1 100 power dig and insane crit chance. Will I even get there though? The Psychic Gym is next. Well, the Psychic Gym ended up being an easy fight completely because Sabrina played like Sabrina. We swept her entire team up to Alakazam, who wasted the first turn on Reflect, but it made him survive, so he followed that up with a Psywave that did about 31 damage. Hey, does anyone know what the crit rate of Alakazam in this game? I'm curious how likely we were to get one-shot if she had used Psychic instead. Alright, the ground gym was actually really long and brutal. First was his Rhyhorn, who wasn't that dangerous but just takes forever to take down. Using Toxic and Sludge seems to be the best way to handle it. Second is Dugtrio, and we lost quite a few attempts to it. I need to have Muck at full health when it shows up, and if it doesn't use Dire Hit on the first turn, then we end up losing. But on this go, it uses Dire Hit as soon as it shows up. And it didn't crit with Dig, so we took it out with enough health left. Nidoqueen was bad, but could have been a lot worse if she used Body Slam more often. Thankfully, she spent most of her time using Scratch instead. Nidoking was pretty brutal because he was using Thrash a lot, and not really hitting himself in confusion nearly as much as I would like. We lost Wheezing, and Muck only had 2 health by the time he went down. Last was Rhydon, so I sent in Coughing to hope to poison it with Sludge. That's when I realized Rhydon has Fissure, and because it's ground type, he's gonna use it every turn. In Gen 1, that only works if his base speed is higher than ours. Now Rhydon isn't faster than much, but it does have a higher base speed than Coughing, so eventually we went down to that. But you know what it doesn't have a higher base speed than? Muck. Our 2 health Muck just sat there for an entire minute, slowly taking out Rhydon with Sludge as poison damage chipped away at it. What an incredibly Gen 1 victory. Last is the rival, who was a total squash until Alakazam hit a Psychic that nearly took out Muck before we one-shot him. Last is his Charizard, and he's incredibly tough, so I blew up Zingui to weaken him, then threw in a Coughing to slowly finish him off. Now if he just used Slash every turn, then I think he would have taken out both of our Coughings, but he used Rage pretty quickly, and it doesn't crit nearly as often, so we won pretty fast. I hope that he's easy at the end of the game, but somehow I don't think he will be. So we're traveling to the Elite Four, and I'm kind of dreading it. Maybe Lorelei will be okay, Bruno should be fine. I'm not even that worried about Lance because he's just gonna spam agility, but Agatha is gonna be a nightmare. Her entire team is poison type, so she resists Sludge and I can't use Toxic. Not only that, but she'll use Hypnosis and Dream Eater. That heals her and will probably just one-shot a lot of our Pokemon. Agatha does like to use Dream Eater while we're awake sometimes, so I expect her to waste a lot of turns, but we're probably going to have an awful time dealing damage. I'll make sure I get the Coughings up to level 37 so they learn Smokescreen before I actually try the Elite Four. I figure the Smokescreens are going to be what saves us from Hypnosis. Now that we're at the Elite Four, let's take a look at our team. Well, I don't think that this team is anywhere near ready to take out Agatha. I'm pretty confident that I could at least beat Lorelei and Bruno. I get the feeling that I might not beat Agatha until Muck and Zingui are more like level 60 plus, but who knows. Maybe I'm overestimating how hard it'll be to take out Gengar. Make your final guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. First is Ice Trainer Lorelei. First is Dugong, and it just spams Rest every attempt because it's Psychic type, so I used the chance to build up 2 Minimizes. I could be mean and easily do 6, but I'll keep it a little bit more fair. I know that I'm going to need Minimizes for Cloyster. As it comes out, we have a reasonably easy time taking it down, but I'll tell you right now, I lost a few attempts just due to Clamp hurting us so badly. Slowbro only uses Amnesia, so it's a free fight. And next is Jinx, who hits a Body Slam and an Ice Punch to take us to half health before we finished her off. Last was Lapras, so I kept Muck in, and it paid off. Minimize helped us dodge both Blizzard and Hydro Pump, getting us the win. It took a few tries, but at least I figured out a winning strategy. Second is Fighting Trainer Bruno. This one is really simple, Toxic for the Onix and Sludge with the Muck for the fighting types. I mean, other than Machamp, who I blew up on at first because it was funny. It actually did less damage than I was expecting, though. Man, how much more fun would this run be if Weezing had Explosion instead? Or maybe if all 3 of my Weezings and Coughings had their own explosions and self-destructs. That would be such a fun run. You know, sometimes people ask why I haven't done a run with only Explosion and self-destruct. Well, it's because I can only have 6 Pokemon on a team, so even if I one-shot with every single Explosion, I'd lose anytime they have 6 Pokemon because we lose on a draw. Plus, it doesn't hit ghosts. It would be funny if I could do it, but then again, the gag would probably get old really fast. Third is Ghost Trainer Agatha. Yeah, did you see how little damage the first Sludge did? That was a crit, and that's exactly why we can't win this fight yet. By far, our highest attack Pokemon is hardly doing any damage to Gengar, so I don't really have any solution other than to level them up a lot. At least Muck has a lot of stat experience, so it's not too punishing to just use Rare Candy on him, although I gotta fight my way through the Elite Four again, because I don't have much Rare Candy, I gotta go get it. The funny thing is, I don't think I'd have even made it past Gengar, but she switched to Golbat to use Haze. That resets all of the stat changes, and it seems like she uses it over and over if I use Minimize, so I don't think that Minimize is even a long-term option. At least not until I take out Golbat. That might be really rough, though. Let's get a ton of levels and come back. So, here we are, trying again after a bunch of levels on Muck and Weezing. This is tons of attempts in, and I need to show you how close I get. Now, it's not worth telling you the entire blow-by-blow, but as you can see, it's agonizing. She uses tons of potions, she uses tons of sleep and confusion moves, and not only does her Dream Eater mess us up, but it heals her a ton whenever she hits it. At the same time though, sometimes she just uses Dream Eater while we're already awake a bunch of times and gives us some hope, just to suddenly ruin us with Confuse Ray or Hypnosis. The worst part is that most failed attempts take at least 5 minutes unless we get nailed with Hypnosis instantly. That means we have to sit through tons of the fight before I know for sure if I'm gonna lose or not. Anyway, I don't think that I can win at this level unless I get simply unreasonably lucky with her move choice. This is the first time we've gotten to the final Gengar, we hardly even made it that far this time, and we got instantly taken out by Nightshade. We just need more levels. Alright, a few levels later. The first Gengar still took about a third of our health out, but that's actually better than it usually goes, so that's already a good start. Golbat started rough with us hitting ourselves in confusion twice right away, but Golbat kept using Confuse Ray while we were already confused, so at least he wasn't stacking damage. Then he used Haze to get rid of our confusion so we could finish him off. Well, that was nice. Haunter is next, so I sent in Coughing to Smokescreen, just to get confused and hit myself. It worked the second time at least, but then the strategy fell apart when he started switching to Arbok. We ended up hitting another Smokescreen on Arbok, but then he switched back to Haunter to finish us off. Alright, Smokescreen isn't gonna work yet. So I sent in Zingui as Arbok came back out, and thankfully it was just using Acid instead of Glare, so we took it out pretty fast. Haunter was sent right back out, so I sent in Coughing, knowing that I don't think it can switch between the Gengar and the Haunter to remove debuffs. Problem is, we got put to sleep, confused, and then one-shot with Dream Eater, so Smokescreen is off the table. Out to Zingui, and Hypnosis missed early. We traded shots for quite a while before he finally put us to sleep and hit Dream Eater when he only had a sliver of health left, finishing him off and getting a bit more health back on him. All this left is our low health Muck, and she started using super potions, but then she missed Hypnosis, so we took her out. Last is her strongest Gengar, but it actually went great. She was wasting time with stuff like Toxic despite us being Poison type, and Dream Eater while we were awake. We did get confused and hit ourselves though. Every time I thought I was about to win, she'd use a potion or confuse us, but in the end she ended up wasting enough time and we actually finally took her down. That was the hardest fight this whole run by far. Fourth is Dragon Trainer Lance. This one was super simple. All of his dragons have Psychic-type buff moves, so they just use that over and over. The only Pokemon that actually fight us are his Water Onix and Aerodactyl. Water Onix was super easy with Sludge, and for Aerodactyl, I just hit Toxic, blew up on it, then had Muck finish it with Sludge. It would have been super easy, but we hit ourselves in confusion, and then he used a Hyper Potion. It was okay though. We were tanky enough to last long enough to take it out. I'm sure if Dragonite used real moves, it could have put up a serious fight, but it didn't, so it was easy. Finally, the Pokemon Champion. First is Pidgeot, who did the genius move of using Mirror Move as the first move, so nothing happened. Then he followed it up with a Whirlwind in a trainer fight when it does nothing in this game. He went down fast. Second was Alakazam, and we got nailed with Psybeam for half of our health, got confused, then one-shot him with Sludge. Hey, that's one huge threat down. Rhydon is next, and this thing takes a year to take down, so I used Toxic, and then sent in Coughing to spam Smokescreen before eventually switching back into Zingui to hit Sludge more. It didn't look like much, but that took almost 3 minutes. Executor was just a one-shot with a critical Sludge from Muck, and fifth is Water Onix. Now this started awesome with us hitting it hard, it just using Dragon Rage, and us poisoning it. Problem is, we got it a sliver from fainting, and it just hit a Hyper Beam to take us out. Then he used a full restore as I sent Coughing in to finish him off, so I just hit a weak Sludge before he Hyper Beamed that down too. I sent out Zingui, and thankfully he missed his Hyper Beam, so we hit Sludge, but then he started using Dragon Rage, so we're still taking damage. We really lucked out when he missed Hydro Pump, and we finished him off, but all we have left is Zingui and one Coughing. That's when the magic happened. Charizard used Rage on the first turn. So to avoid powering him up by actually hitting him, I used Toxic to start dealing damage, then switched to Coughing to spam Smokescreen. We fainted eventually, but then I could send Zingui back in to hit Sludge and finish it off. We finally won. You know what? That team sucked, and it could have had a more fun moveset, but I still really had fun with that run. I love a lot of Gen 1 poison types, so it was fun to use them, and just getting to use stuff like Self-Destruct and Smokescreen is always a fun time, even if it's a little bit later into the game than I would have liked. I really hope you guys like that run. The next Pokemon Challenge should be up next week on Saturday, like usual, with Pokemon Heart Gold with only one Tropius. Sounds like a weird one, right? That's why I want to do it. As always, I'm looking at your suggestions in the comments in the challenge request section of my Discord channel and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Outro time. I have been streaming more. You may have seen it on the channel, because I do, of course, upload all the stream footage onto the YouTube channel after, so you may have seen a little bit, and you may not have, but you can look through the video section or the playlist section if you want to find those. But finally, after all of these, I don't know, years now of saying, hey, I think I'll have more time to stream, and then, like, I would stream a bit more for a little while, and then I'd be really busy again. Nah. I actually have more time to stream now. And that's super fun, because I really enjoy streaming. I have for years and years and years, and I hated that for the last, like, 3-4 years, I haven't really had a whole lot of time to stream. I've missed it, so it's really fun getting back into doing more of that. I want to do more locally recorded Let's Plays too, because I always have a fun time with that too. Maybe get some more raft going with Jax, that would be a fun time. Me and Kate have got to get back together to do some more of that Lord of the Rings, The Third Age game. That was getting really fun. So I'm really excited that I get to do those things for you guys again, because I missed that part of my channel quite a bit. I miss that I didn't really have a whole lot of time to work on it, and it's a really fun time. Maybe I'll even stream some more Pokemon-related things, or let's play some more Pokemon-related things, because I know some of you really are just here for the Pokemon, and no hard feelings if you are. I always appreciate if you do check out the Let's Plays, and you do check out the Fallout and Elder Scrolls challenges I do, just because I do a lot of things. But of course, you just watch whatever you want to watch. You're not obligated to watch me. I'm just happy that you're here. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.